This year, all over the world, we celebrate 800 years of the nativity scene, a nativity scene that was born from the heart and great love of St. Francis, who wanted to see with his own eyes the difficulties faced by Mary and Joseph during the birth of the baby Jesus. That is why he wanted to depict the scene of the biblical text in a cave in the town of Greccio, Italy, in 1223. An admirable sign, so dear to the Christian people that it always arouses awe and wonder. These are the words on the meaning and value of the nativity scene that Pope Francis writes in his 2019 Apostolic Letter Admirabile signum on the occasion of his visit to Greccio in the Rieti Valley. For the Christmas season, the Christian Media Center, together with the Custody of the Holy Land website, offer a dialogue with Brother Francesco Patton.
Il Natale di Greccio è una celebrazione molto particolare perché è una celebrazione attraverso la quale
Christmas at Greccio is a very special celebration because it is a celebration through which Francis helps us understand, on the one hand, the value of the Eucharist, and on the other hand, the value of incarnation, putting them together. Because what Francis celebrates in Greccio is precisely the Eucharist, celebrated in a context that represents the scene of Bethlehem. So Francis contacts his friend from Greccio named John and says, "If you want us to come and celebrate Christmas, make all the preparations." He asks for special permission from the Pope to be able to celebrate not in a church, but in a stable, in a cave, in a non-liturgical setting, and actually recreates the scene in Bethlehem. In Bethlehem we have the cave of the Nativity, we have the manger, and we have in front of the manger the altar on which the Eucharist is celebrated.
Abbiamo la mangiatoia e abbiamo lì di fronte alla mangiatoia l'altare sul quale si celebra l'Eucarestia.
Why is Christmas in Greccio important?
Perché Francesco, che era stato pellegrino in Terra Santa,
Because Francis, who had been a pilgrim to the Holy Land between 1219 and 1220, probably had had the opportunity to see the Bethlehem grotto and perhaps even to participate in the celebration. And he had this insight: the Son of God who became incarnate in Bethlehem by being born of Mary is the same one who makes himself small and offers himself to us daily through the Eucharist, and in this way he nourishes our lives. Then this scene, this way of celebrating the Eucharist by St. Francis, became in the collective imagination the celebration of the nativity scene at Greccio. But nativity scene is a word that simply means manger. And what Francis celebrates is not the manger. What Francis celebrates is the Eucharist at the manger, to make this link between incarnation and Eucharist understood. Of course, the scene of the depiction of the Nativity was a scene that was already present for centuries in images, in bas-reliefs, in sculptures since the 4th century. And in Greccio a special element is then introduced, we might say, that brings the scene alive. And why was Greccio the chosen city?
Perché Greccio è un paese di pastori e quindi i pastori che vengono a partecipare a questa celebrazione.
Because Greccio is a village of shepherds who come to participate in this celebration. They become in some way the actualization of the shepherds who had gone from the shepherd's field to the cave in Bethlehem. The element of the donkey and ox, which are precisely found in depictions as early as the 4th century, is introduced, which is an element that is taken up by the prophet Isaiah. The ox depicts the people of Israel because it bears the yoke, and therefore the yoke is the image of the law, and the donkey depicts all of us who belong to the Gentiles, the people.
Apparteniamo ai gentili, alle genti.
Every home has a nativity scene. What does it mean, especially this year? It is not so much the creation of the nativity scene as we understand it, but it is making people understand the connection between the mystery of the incarnation of the Son of God and the mystery of the Eucharist, to make people understand that just as God made himself small and close in Bethlehem, so he continues to make himself small, close, and to make himself our food too in the Eucharist.